Hello and welcome to another Cleaver Fulton Rankin podcast stroke webinar. Today I wanted just to cover why you may choose to use CFR ahead of, let's say, US or London immigration providers. It can be a bit of a daunting task when you realize that your business does need immigration assistance with so many providers out there, most of which are based in the London area. Who to choose from, why you would choose them, and of course, serious considerations for your business, such as professional fees. I thought the first thing that I wanted to look at today was why would you find that there's a benefit in having localized immigration assistance here in Northern Ireland? One of the areas I wanted to cover was professional fees and costs involved. Another area that you would need to consider if you are bringing in Tier 2 migrants into the country, or whether you intend in doing so, is the compliance and auditing matters that would be presented in front of you when holding the licence. Local knowledge and expertise, which we would have within this jurisdiction. Training seminars available, and client to lawyer contact. So the costs are an obvious consideration for any businesses, and the differences here can be quite staggering between London immigration providers and the likes of ourselves in Northern Ireland. What you will often find with US or London providers is that they will charge a series of additional fees for performance of essentially the same duties. So if you decide you do want to take on an engineer or a software developer, and you decide that you want to engage lawyers to take that process forward from the initial assessment of the application all the way through to formal approval of the visa, then often what you'll find with US and London providers is that they will break down charges for performing certain duties of that process. What we offer at Cleaver, Fulton, Rankin is we give you a set fee, a rate card, and that is it. We don't include any hidden charges. If there are substantial changes to the immigration process, we would always consult with you directly before making any decisions on whether we think that it's going to involve more additional time. Then there's the obvious reason that professional rates of lawyers in London in comparison to Northern Ireland is quite massive in terms of time spent per hour on matters. For some of the work completed, Cleaver, Fulton, Rankin can be as much as 25% less than US London immigration providers. In fact, looking at what the typical fees would be for a London immigration provider or for immigration providers based throughout England, you're probably looking at something more accurately of being about 40% higher than what we would be working within this jurisdiction, Northern Ireland. The interesting point to think about is that if you are using an immigration provider based in London or in England, you're probably thinking, well, what is that going to involve for me to switch over to these guys in Northern Ireland, Cleaver, Fulton, Rankin? Well, there are no associated home office fees for changing your immigration provider. And it's a process that with assistance can take no more than about 15 to 20 minutes to complete, but can have obvious cost savings advantages for your business, considering the staggering difference of fees between a London-based provider and ourselves. One area of consideration will always be compliance and audits. The Home Office or UKVI reserve the right to conduct an unannounced audit on any sponsor license holder in the UK. And on average, we are seeing this occurring around every 2 to 3 years. Compliance audits are robust, detailed, and can frequently last several hours, including interviews with HR staff and, of course, the Tier 2 visa holders under the sponsor license as well. HR systems will be tested during a compliance visit, and failure to comply can lead to suspension, revocation, or civil penalties imposed on the company. An interesting case is R. Raj and Null Limited versus Secretary of State for the Home Department. The court outlined the Home Office are entitled to maintain a fairly high index of suspicion and a light trigger with enforcing compliance. What should be remembered is that all sponsor license holders reserve the right to call their legal representative to attend any audit hearing with the Home Office. The difficulties really arises, especially within the compliance and auditing process, that a US London provider of immigration simply cannot be there to attend your offices in person on the day of the audit if your company is domiciled in Northern Ireland. To delay this process or reschedule the visit is the only option, and from experience in dealing with these types of compliance reports and findings, is that it can have a prejudicial impact on the outcome of the audit, or at least what it will do is annoy the compliance officer who has come to attend the premises of your business and you have deferred them because your immigration provider is not based here in Northern Ireland. That will be referred to in their report. In comparison, we're just a phone call away, so if the Home Office rock up to your premises and demand to conduct an audit there and then, which they have the right to do, which is reserved under the legislation, if we are your legal representative based here in this jurisdiction, you can phone us directly and we can be there in person to attend any hearing and liaise with the Home Office, as well as taking substantial notes which we think may be relevant to the possible outcome of your licence and the findings following the audit itself. Comparatively, a US and London provider of immigration will charge a professional fee for assisting on compliance visits by the Home Office. So, I mean, it depends between different providers in London, but it's willing to accept something around the $1,500 to $2,500 range for just the one lawyer to fly across there to sit through an audit. And the other aspect you will have to consider is there are travel costs to fly a lawyer over from the likes of London or from England to attend the hearings. And over my years in doing immigration, I have come across situations in which businesses based here in Northern Ireland have been forced to defer audits and pay for the additional costs of getting a lawyer over from England to assist on the matter, which of course can have escalating fees. Then there is, of course, the local knowledge and expertise. So Cleaver, Fulton, Rankin are an extremely well-known and leading provider of legal services here in Northern Ireland. We recently celebrated our 125th year anniversary, so people are well aware of our existence here. We understand the landscape and the nature of what clients require day in and day out. And quite simply, with a US or London provider of immigration, there is total disengagement of any type of interest or understanding to what your business needs day in, day out. We understand the economy here, we understand how it works, we have contacts throughout the jurisdiction, and what you often find is that when you've engaged with a London provider, they may well take forward the work when you ask them to do so, but outside of that, an understanding of the environment you're operating in, there's little to none. CFR are a fully serviced law firm, unlike many of the US London providers of immigration who employ only immigration advisors. So the benefits in having a fully serviced law firm is that often you will find that with immigration issues, there are a number of other areas of law which are intertwined. Typically, you probably would see that employment frequently is referred to within immigration spheres. You may have a commercial issue or a data protection issue involved. And here at Cleaver, Fulton, Rankin, because we have lawyers in virtually every department and service offering within this jurisdiction, we can cross-refer work, we can communicate with each other and make sure that your business gets the most accurate advice when dealing with complex immigration or employment situations. Very often you'll find is that a US or London provider of immigration just specialise in immigration services, and that is where the difficulty arises, in that if you need additional advice on things such as tax, on GDPR, on employment contracts and offers and legislation, That's where the complications arise, and then you often find that you have to outsource that work to another professional, and as a result of that, you will have to consider the additional cost implications of doing so. The other issue that we would be able to offer within this jurisdiction is training seminars and invites. So we regularly run seminars at our offices free of charge to our clients, and we try to offer at least one every 3 to 4 months. And normally during these seminars, we'll look at the latest legal changes which could impact your business. We will look at that from an immigration viewpoint, but also from an employment legal. We take question sessions and look to help on individual issues. So, if you have a burning question or there are issues that your business has been facing, we would take those questions on board and look to work with you directly in resolving any issues that you may have. A US or London provider will only run sessions from their own offices, often situated outside of Northern Ireland. And interestingly, we provide cross-marketing and networking days and events, which we can invite clients to attend and exchange mutual contacts. Obviously, in the world of business, it makes sense that our clients are connected, often working within the same sectors, industries. So we encourage actively cross-marketing and networking days for our clients at our offices, as well as providing the latest legal updates. And interestingly, we can tailor any upcoming training seminar to focus on a particular area you require. So should you have a number of new starters, for example, within your HR department who may be unfamiliar with the likes of right to work checks or with the visa process, what we can do is tailor our seminars so that those attendees will gain the knowledge that they require to obviously propel your business forward and ensure that you're doing the right moves and making the right decisions internally. And of course, it really varies between client and lawyer, but I often find that having close contact to your clients makes a hell of a lot of difference. We encourage regularly meeting with our clients in person. So we normally would go out there and visit our clients several times a year, even for a catch up, find out what their projected hiring criteria might be in the future, whether they think they're likely to have expansion opportunities and will need greater focus on the immigration process, for example. If situated in Northern Ireland, obviously without stating the obvious, a US London provider during the entire relationship may never even visit your business. So should complications arise or complexities, we can offer to be there in person and resolve the matter there and then. I often find that emails is one way of doing things, even a phone call is another, but being there in person and actively resolving any issues that you may have with the Home Office, with sponsor licensing, immigration, employment, just being there in person we find makes a huge difference. And we get to know our clients beyond just the professional relationship. We like to know them as a person and how they like to operate. And obviously we tailor our advice and the way we work and processes to the way that best functions for your business. And more than anything, we hope to build a trusted relationship over time and not just hide behind a computer screen. So just a number of concluding remarks that we've covered. You may be using a US or London immigration provider. You may not. But why would you consider coming to Cleaver, Fulton, Rankin? Well, our professional fees and costs are probably between 25 and 50% less than what a London provider is likely to charge you. And that has massive fees and cost implications if you are an expanding business, let's say an IT or tech company, who are intending to bring in quite a lot of tier 2 migrants in the future. It goes without saying that if your fees are half, it makes commercial sense to opt for someone who can do this work at a high standard. Often what I find is that some people think, well, if these guys are 25 to 40% cheaper, then how can they offer this service and how can they do it? Well, we'd like to think we're one of the most responsive firms out there. We will get back within your queries very, very fast and responsively. And we do think that, working within this jurisdiction in Northern Ireland does give us advantages. With overheads being less, we can offer our professional fees at a better fee structure and rate than a London provider. You will need to consider your compliance and auditing matters. There is no escaping that once you have a sponsor license, you will become under the radar of the Home Office, especially if you are a business who has been increasing their volumes of Tier 2 migrants, or you may have had some issues under the license in the past, such as visa refusals. Then compliance and auditing matters will be important to consider. And to have someone localised here in Northern Ireland who can be there at your offices, at your premises, and liaise directly with the Home Office has obvious advantages than having to ring your immigration provider in London to travel across. We have local knowledge and expertise, so we understand the jurisdiction here in Northern Ireland, and we understand our clients and the businesses and how it operates. The training seminars are there, so it's free to attend. We run several different interesting seminars every year, and we really encourage our clients to come along, not just for the networking opportunities, but to stay informed of the law and make any changes that we think may be required in the future. And of course, as the client lawyer contact, we like to be in contact with our clients directly and in person as often as possible to build that trusted relationship, and hopefully that leads into making sure that immigration applications and visas run smoothly for the business. Thank you very much for joining me today, and I hope that's helped in some way. If you want to get in contact to even discuss our fees, or if you want to think about changing your provider from a London-based immigration provider, then no issues whatsoever. Happy to take the call. My details are on the following slide. All the best, take care, and hope to speak again. Thank you.